Welcome to another episode of Cocktails with Carly and Toks Ogun. I am Cocktails with Carly.
And I'm Toks Ogun.
Hey.
Y'all heard it. It's right on cue.
So we're doing something a little different tonight. It's just me and Toks tonight. Really just diving into a couple questions that some of our viewers have given and listeners have given us. So without further ado, Toks, of course I always have to ask, how was your weekend?
It was good. A lot of birthdays.
Did you have to think about it? It was a lot. Let me tell you.
I don't be remembering what I be doing on the weekends, but a lot of birthdays. A lot of it just be a lot.
So let me tell you. It seems like my birthday was March 4th. It seems like we've been celebrating birthdays from the end of February to just like last Saturday.
Exactly.
And it's like, good God, whose birthday is next? Like,
right.
So,
and I'm big on people's birthdays.
Me too.
Just because growing up, my dad always said, you know what, always remember people's birthday and kind of mark it down, because you might not talk to somebody the whole year, but you hit them up on their birthday, show a little bit of love, show a little respect. Everything else just erases, and you're just like, and it's all good. Yeah. So I always keep people's birthdays, and I always show up for people's birthdays.
Yeah, birthdays are very important to me. Yeah. Like, even people that I've had like wonky relationships with, if they've showed up for my birthday, it makes me feel like, wow. Now, if it's people that I fuck with like all the time, and they don't show up for my birthday, and they don't give a good reason,
right?
Then I'm looking at them like, damn, you had all this time to do something, and my birthday come up, and now you busy.
Right.
You know, or now that party is popping. So, yeah, I don't play about my birthday, because I don't play about others. Like, I truly believe that's your thing, right? It's your special day.
Exactly.
Right? So.
And you get one a year, so I give you that.
Right? You get one, and not all month, because sometimes I kind of ended up celebrating all month.
Yeah, the new trend is to have your birthday be a whole week, and you have like 10 different events.
So the reason why mine was like essentially a whole month is because I had different friends that wanted to celebrate and couldn't celebrate all together.
That's everybody's excuse.
Everybody couldn't make it to like the parties and stuff like that.
Everybody just want to have a whole carnival. Just let's be real. Everybody just want to have a whole carnival.
It was exhausting, I will say, but I do appreciate everybody that showed up for my birthday, and really just all the love and just the gifts and all the funness for my birthday. So, and then of course my mom's birthday was at the end of the month, and I was in LA. So, that was fun. Yeah.
Definitely.
So we have a couple questions tonight. We're going to jump into, shout out to Trav in the back for making sure our vocals and our visuals are pristine. And let's jump right into it. So Toks, I'm going to let you drive with a question.
All right. So the first one we got is, should a man allow his woman to accept gifts from another man if he can't afford it?
So, first off and foremost, my first thought is, what man in your life is that comfortable with giving you a gift while you're in a relationship with someone else? And why does that man feel like he could give you that Chanel bag?
Because lots of men.
You said what now?
I said lots of men are comfortable with that.
I think it's a flex move. Personally, I would think it's a flex move. Like, you with this bum dude, I can do this, so I'm going to give you that.
Well, let's be real. He's not a bum dude. It's just that you got a little bit more money than him, and you're just like, okay, well, if she wants something and he can't do it, then I'm going to jump in there.
Okay, that's fair.
Right.
So me personally, if I'm in a relationship with someone, and a committed relationship with someone, if I'm in a relationship, we're in a committed. But if I'm in a relationship with someone, I'm definitely not going to accept a gift from another man, because I think it is disrespectful. I think it's disrespectful to accept a gift from a man that's outside of your relationship because your dude can't afford it. Like, come on. Is that not a slap in the face or what?
Oh, that's definitely a slap in the face. And a lot of people might feel like, oh, it's innocent, it's just a gift. But we all know that sometimes people give gifts because they're trying to curry favor. And because they're trying to occupy space in your mind.
Yes.
And it starts with a gift, but trust me, people have, their intentions.
That gift is that intention.
And it just goes on and on. And I'm telling you, some men play the slow game where it's just like, this might take years, but it starts with a gift. It starts with this. It starts showing up. And all of a sudden, you're kind of building this bond and this relationship with somebody who you're not in a relationship with. And then it ends up compromising your relationship.
I agree. And in addition to that, I truly believe gifts have sentimental value.
Oh, they do.
So imagine you see this guy out, you're wearing this Chanel bag or these earrings or whatever it is that he bought you, and you're with your dude, he sees the guy, you think the guy's gonna walk by and act like he doesn't see her or whatever. No, he wants to come over and show exactly who bought the gift, right?
Exactly.
So I think it's a flex move.
Definitely.
But no,
1000%.
hands down, I think we can agree to say that would you feel a certain type of way if your lady accepted a gift?
Oh, hell yeah, because what's the strings behind the gift?
So wait, what if it
There
was
are
a
always
house
strings.
or something?
Hell no. Fuck that.
You fuck the house?
Yeah.
Damn, Ogun. He said, fuck the house, y'all.
Because it's the bigger the gift, the more the sentimental value, and the higher that's going to
We
occupy
may have to
space
talk
in their
about the
mind.
house.
No.
No? Okay.
Good.
That's fair. What if it was a business and you guys had they had a business arrangement and he said, I'll gift you this, you and your husband, you and your man.
Nah. Good.
So no gift, no bag, no shoes, no purse, and no house.
Do a donation to charity.
Oh, to y'all's charity or?
Yeah, that works.
Oh,
Yeah.
to the charity of your household or no?
No.
No.
to the independent charity.
To the independent charity of your
You're more
choice.
than welcome to donate.
Right. Okay, that's fair. So I think that we can agree that there's no gifts that will be accepted if you're in a committed relationship by someone else, another man or another woman.
Yep.
Okay.
Because it just compromises your relationship.
It compromises. I agree.
Exactly. It's the same way. It's the same way sometimes in business they discourage people from accepting gifts from either people that they're trying to do business with or government officials
Yes.
or different things like that because it does influence you.
It is an
whether
influence.
whether you want to agree with it or not.
Yes, I would agree. I would agree with that. So that's fair. And I'm sure hopefully you guys are agreeing with us on this because, and if you don't agree, please definitely let us know in the comments because this will be very interesting to hear your reasoning. So I have a question. So mine, I'm going to jump into this question. It kind of came up. So are American women marriage minded? So the question was, are American women marriage minded? So what do you think, Toks? Do you feel
The
like
answer
that?
is obviously no.
Okay, why?
Why? Well,
I don't agree, but why?
yeah, and even though the question targets the women, but it's also the same thing with the men. Is that in America, we're more over time. We've been more focused on self, and so it's really more so about your personal achievement, your personal happiness, your personal journey, and all of that. And that kind of conflicts with marriage because marriage is supposed to be about your union, and it's supposed to be about what you guys are building. And so you're essentially supposed to kind of in a way sacrifice yourself for that cause, but that's just not where.
So you don't think that the American women are willing to make the sacrifice?
No, it's the reason why our divorce rate is the way that it is because people get into a situation once it's uncomfortable, then it's just like I am not going to spend the rest of my life in an unhappy situation, and so I'm going to go find other happiness because.
So this is the thing.
I'm
So there's
important.
two components to this. So I'm going to address what you just mentioned, the last
Now,
thing.
I will say that American women are wedding-minded. I will say that.
Okay, that's fair. So what I will say is I do believe that American women are marriage-minded. We do have a lot of women that are wanting to, yes, falling in love with the novelty of being married, but also you have women that have worked very hard to get where they are to create foundations to be able to have a family, right? So I do believe that they are marriage-minded. I think what's happened is society is pushing the narrative for a specific culture. And I think it is the African-American culture that we don't want to be married because of social media, what's cool. We're more engulfed in the self-gratification opposed to, living their life with someone and building with someone.
Right.
So I think that it's being geo-fenced into a specific culture because in other cultures, which I've seen, and not all, but I've seen, marriage being more so pushed for longevity and creating generational wealth and creating a home and having a family and the white picket fence. But that's not necessarily what's being promoted in our culture. So I think what happens is people find comfort in that and say, yeah, I'd rather just go and date all these women and have these polyamorous relationships and do all this and do all that and buy all this and go. because that's what's being pushed into social media based off of our culture.
Yeah, and that lifestyle also appeals to people's selfish nature, where it's just like you get to have whatever it is you want when you want, and
Yeah.
if your personal happiness is the ultimate goal, it's going to be really, really difficult for you to build a life with somebody because there's going to be compromises that have to be made.
I don't think people really know what it means to be happy. I think that people think having materialistic things make them happy. But once they accumulate all of these bags and all of these cars and these whatever the case is, these materialistic goods, I feel like they sit there and now they're pulling from different angles to get that fulfillment of love and comfort and someone paying attention to them. And, but having those, materialistic things make them feel, inferior. It makes them feel powerful. But really, what are you really masking?
Definitely, and I'll definitely agree with that. It's as if the consumerism that's rampant in the rest of our lives has also gotten into our relationships, where it's hard to build something long term with somebody because you feel like people's usefulness expires, and so you have to go find something new.
Is it youthfulness or is it just people
not
getting tired?
Not youthfulness, but usefulness.
Oh, usefulness.
So where that's the whole concept where all of a sudden now people feel like they're outgrowing people.
Okay.
Where's everybody growing to that you're outgrowing people?
I think they're growing with social media. They're growing to what the next biggest kick is, the next newest place, the next newest relationship type. Oh, I want to be able to have a girlfriend, and I want to be able to do this, and I have a big appetite, and I want to be able to. Okay, where did all this big appetite come from? Like, where did all of this come from? Whatever happened to building with one person and developing and exploring and doing life with one person? And actually exploring and working through the difficult times. Now, I will say something else that you did mention. Yes, you want to get in a committed relationship with someone and have longevity and fight for your relationship. But when it becomes difficult, know when that relationship has expired. Because I truly believe that people engulf themselves in the whole, I got to be committed to this relationship and stay in this relationship unhappy. And I don't encourage that. I truly believe that the ultimate goal in life is to be happy. And if you are with a companion and are doing life with someone, it's designed to do just that. Do life with that person and enjoy them, not do life and fight through life. Who wants to fucking do that?
Yeah, but I feel like that's the exact thinking that kind of got us to where we are, where...
Remember I said know when to walk away and know when to actually fight for a relationship.
But here's kind of the thing, right? Is that when you've given people the option to walk away, that's always easier than actually doing the work of checking yourself and making sure that you can compromise with somebody.
I don't think that anyone is bound to anyone. I do believe that you are in relationships by choice. And you're working it out because you care about the foundation, you care about the longevity of the relationship.
But think about it, though. Aren't we bound to our family?
Some people are and some people are not.
Right. But aren't the people who are bound to their family, don't they tend to be stronger than the people who are not?
So, yes and no. So it depends, because you have people that will deal with their family just because it's family and they can really care less about them. And then you have people that are actually engulfed in their family and they love their family.
Right.
And they fight for their family. So it's a very big difference. But
right. No, so I'm more so those people.
The people that fight for their families.
Yeah.
But you also have to remember, if your family is giving you a hard time, family is just that, family. It is another form of a relationship.
It is.
You have people that are in your family that would kill you, that will hurt you, that will talk about you, that will do things to demise your character, right?
Definitely.
So those are also people. They can be friends. They can be people that you know. So it depends on the cultivation of that family relationship. It just goes back to what I say. If you're in a relationship with someone, it doesn't matter what kinship. If you're in a relationship with someone and they're making it difficult, family, relationship, boyfriend, girlfriend, wife, husband, if they're making it difficult for you to do life with them and live and have bliss, then that's not the right relationship. That's not fulfillment. That's just going through the motions.
Well, I'll say that probably the last I'll say on that is that that's challenging because what each person views as difficult is relative. Some people have it so good and they might have 80% of what they want, but that difficult 20% is now their focus, and that's enough for them to be like, you know what, I think I could probably get maybe 85-90% somewhere else.
So is that settling?
Everybody settles.
But is that so? There's different forms of settling. So you're settling to be in a relationship. Okay, maybe my husband doesn't want to have sex all the time, but he's a provider. He's a great man. He's a great father. He's this. He's that. Okay, that's a settle. That's a decent settle.
Right.
Somebody that you do in life with, and they want to fight or make your life difficult or embarrass you or whatever the case. That's not doing life. That's toxic. So those are situations that you have to know when to walk away from, because you can't it's hard to find the good in someone that is making it difficult for you to do life with them.
I'll agree with that, but then sometimes you also have to look at what the other person wants.
Yeah.
And maybe their needs aren't being fulfilled, and that's why they're acting the way that they're acting.
So does that mean that person would be unequally yoked with the person that they're with?
No, it just means that y'all probably need to work on y'all communication in terms of what's the issue, what's the friction, what do you want that you're not getting? Okay. What are you communicating that you feel like you're not being heard, and why are you acting the way that you're acting? So everybody acts the way they act for a specific reason.
But at what point does a person say, I can't do this? If somebody's not cleaning up, if somebody's not being neat, you can work through that. If someone is making life difficult in creating embarrassments, being, not wanting to work, wanting to, those are hard factors to change.
Oh, guaranteed.
And time waits for no one. So at what point does a person know to say, you know what, I'm going to tap out on this situation because this no longer serves me?
The only guidance I can give on that is stay a little bit longer than you think you should.
Okay. So I don't agree, but it's fair.
Yeah. And the only reason why I say that is that because it's so easy for us to just kind of jump ship nowadays, sometimes you have to just pause a little bit and give it a second.
I do believe in giving it a second.
Sometimes you hear couples who maybe were like recently married, and all of a sudden it's just like something's happened in 12 months.
No, I don't agree with that.
They just can't live with each other. It's just like, just hold on a minute.
Right. I can agree with that. I don't agree with just throwing in the towel over something very simplistic. But when it comes down to, I don't care if you've been with the person for 6 months, 3 days, 10 years. If a person is making it difficult for you to do life, and then you have to keep revisiting some of the same conversations, then at that point you should revisit the relationship. That's fair. That's what I would do.
That's fair. I could
we can agree to that?
Yeah, we can agree to that.
All right, let's get to our next question. You guys sent us some really good questions. Like, this is a little litty. Okay.
Okay, so this one is interesting where it says, do men get intimidated by successful women? Absolutely.
Okay, so let me say this. My first response is yes, but I will say this. I do believe that there is a market of men, not all men, but I do believe there's a market of men that do find women that are successful very intimidating. And they don't mind dating them because they want the type of person, but they don't want the traits of success, which is go-getter, not necessarily taking no for an answer and not being insubordinate, so to speak, but more so like, I'm going to be a go-getter, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that no matter what. So I feel like some men are not ready for that.
Right. And
because it internally emasculates them, and it's a problem that they have.
Right, and what I'm going to kind of take a different approach.
Okay.
Than what I was.
What you initially were.
What I was initially going to do, because let's say these men are intimidated. Mm-hmm. Why are they intimidated?
I think it's traumas. I think it's internal issues. Everybody has some form of a trauma, right? It just depends on how you move through life with it.
If we keep the trauma part out of it, why would somebody be intimidated by somebody else's success?
Inadequacies. So, if you're not where you want to be in your life, whether it's where you don't want to, where you're not where you want to be in your life, maybe it's male organ issues where you're not as well endowed, so you invoke that type of control in other places in your life, which is your woman.
Let's say less on that part. Like if we're talking about a successful woman, right? Yeah. So you have a successful woman and you have a man. Now, based on how the typical, let's say, men and women dynamics are, why would a man be intimidated by a woman's success in their relationship?
I truly believe it sometimes it comes from where he is not in his life. I think that if he had it his way, if he's with a successful woman, he would rather be in the successful realm, because I think it does play on a man's manhood and their ego. If they're with a woman that's successful and they're not as successful, they become the plate holder automatically. That's what it looks like to society.
And so them becoming the plate holder, does that now affect their position in the relationship and kind of what is expected of a traditional man?
So sometimes it depends on how this man handles the dynamics within himself in his relationship. Because you could be with a successful woman and still be the head of household, right? You could still be, taking care of the house, being the man. But
is that a challenge though, to do that with somebody who is successful?
I think
and
for
kind of, and because the traits of people who are successful is that they usually have very I'll say dominating personality and traits. They are used to getting what they want.
Some, not all.
Well, think about it. If you're successful, it's just like, I got what I want, which is how I got to where I am.
So you have to. So that's fair, but you also have to remember, in a relationship, there are some people that's able to turn that on and off.
Right, but that is, and that's probably the challenge that I feel like sometimes some women face, is that it is difficult to turn that on and off, because if you're a boss, if you're somebody who has these dominant traits, if you're somebody who is used to getting what they want and doesn't necessarily have a lot of patience, because you're just used to, hey, this is how shit's supposed to be.
But that's not all.
And then if your patience is really low, meaning that if something is not as it should be, you have low. Right, it's going off, because you know what? It's the same way people who own businesses. Like, you go in to the office, it's not the way that it wants. You're going off because they need to get that shit right.
So business and relationship can be parallel but very different.
Yes, but it's difficult to turn that off.
So for some people,
just because you get home.
So, like, for example, for me with my daughter, I have to have and with your loved one, you have to have a certain type of compassion when you're dealing with certain people.
Right.
And compassion, and adjacent to the compassion, you also want to have a certain level of patience and respect. So if I'm dealing with my honey, I have a different level of respect and patience for him. Because I have he holds a different place in my heart, opposed to my job, opposed to my business. This is business, and it's money. It's money driven. This is what we do. We have compassion towards people, but it's about the business.
Right.
But I would not handle my daughter the same, because it's not business. I'm using a different part of my heart when I'm dealing with this person.
Right.
So if a woman or a man, is handling their significant other as a business, then they need to learn and work on how to massage the other part of their heart, and know that when you're dealing with this person, you have to deal with this person with compassion and love and respect.
Yeah, and I feel like...
And people forget that, because
they do.
Therapy is amazing.
Definitely.
And so you have to know, like, these things. You have to read self-help books. You have to understand, when you're in business and when you're a powerful woman or a man, you also have to understand the craft of being able to pivot, right? Pivoting is very important in relationships and business.
Definitely.
So it's about the pivot. You got to be able to pivot with that emotional. It's an emotional pivot.
Right.
That's what we'll say.
And I'll say that for at least certain men, that's kind of where that, it's not intimidation, but you just understand that, all right, since this person can, let's say in the successful realm, go toe to toe with me, if ever I'm slacking, it's easily picked up on. And then there's that friction where it's just like, come on, you got to step up your game.
Okay.
And for a man to hear from his woman, yo, you need to step up your game,
he's got to take the ego out of it. He has to understand that this woman is coming from a place of love. And it also, from the woman's perspective, it also depends on how the woman communicates with the man.
Exactly.
Now, if he's doing the same thing over and over again, he's got to understand, as a woman and being in your femininity, like, there will be a little more twang and attitude with it. But at the end of the day, as it relates to both sides of the spectrum, you have to come from a place of compassion. The way that I talk
That's the
to
biggest
some of
key.
my friends, I have to pivot for some of my other friends that are very sensitive.
Right.
You know, and I even tell some of my friends, like, don't talk rough to me. I'm not that friend.
Right.
I need you to just talk nice to me.
Right.
And if there's something, like, I need you to change your tone, because that's how I am.
Right.
And when I communicate with you, friend, I even change my tone, because I understand where you're from, the origin that you're from. You may be from, like, New York, where people are a little more aggressive with their communication.
Right.
Not necessarily in a negative way, but I'm from LA.
Mm-hmm.
We talk, we be wavy, we sing our words sometimes. So when I'm having a conversation with someone and they're being aggressive towards me, I'm like, wait a minute, don't do that. Like, so I do pretty well with, like, my relationships where people know to communicate with me in a certain type of way.
Mm-hmm.
It's not super special. It's just a pivot.
Right. So what I guess my final say on that is
Okay.
that it's not so much that the men are intimidated by the women's success.
Yeah.
They're just
They don't
They're
know how to
just-
pivot.
well, they may be fearful that the woman doesn't know how to pivot and that she's going to bring that successful energy
Into the
into
relationship.
the dynamic, and then it's going to be like a tug of war. It's going to be a battle.
That's fair.
Like he's battling other men,
Right.
Because men do that amongst themselves,
Right.
where it's just like, "Hey, come on, bro, you need to step your game up," and it's a competitive nature amongst them, right?
Right.
But that competitive nature doesn't lend for compassion amongst them, because it's just like
Right.
we have a friendly competition. You know what I'm saying? We're one up on each. Oh, you did that business deal? Oh, shit,
Right.
I got that times two.
Right.
All right, bet we're going back and forth. For you
Right.
to deal with that same type of dynamic with a woman who you're supposed to more have like a caring, nurturing side
A
to,
soft
a
relationship
softer
with.
relationship towards her, you almost feel like, I know I'm supposed to have a soft nature towards her, but she coming at me like my.
So
my
I'm
God's
glad you
coming
I'm
at
glad
me.
you said that, because I'll say this, I think this is a very important subject, because I think that a lot of people deal with this in relationships.
Oh,
It
yeah.
doesn't matter, like, I even have family members that deal with this. You know, I do have very successful women in my family that are can be very dominant.
Right.
You know, and so I've seen the dominant relationships, and I've also seen the dominant jobs with the softer woman.
Right.
So I think that it's a conversation.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's a conversation, but it also takes me back to, you know, kind of like the premise of my candle line. You know, the man represents the foundation, which is the gold, which is the staple, right? No matter how much money you make, if this is the man that you chose, this is the man you chose. You got to give him the respect.
Right.
Right? So that's the goal aspect. And women, no matter how powerful and how successful you are, you still have to have that element of mauve. You still have to be a soft woman. And I feel like we've gotten a lot away from that. And I'll speak specifically from our culture, because I'm a black woman. I feel like a lot of black women have gotten away from being soft and have wanted to be more into the dominant type of, I'm a boss bitch, you know, I'll wear the pantsuit type of woman, which is okay, but you don't have to take that behavior into your relationships and make that boss bitch, I'm a hard woman, into society and represent yourself as a woman. It's okay, you could be soft and still be dominant.
Right.
And I think that that's where the pivot kind of
And that's
starts.
definitely true. And being a soft, feminine woman from the right guy, you can get more by being that way
Yeah.
than going the hard way.
I would agree.
Because if you ever turn it into, and you might not necessarily do this, but if you ever turn it into a competition between you and your man, him being soft towards you and taking care of you is gonna be almost like him helping his competition.
I can understand that. And I think that from a woman's standpoint, if you know that your man is treating you gentle, acknowledge that. Not with aggression. You treat it, you reciprocate.
Right.
So you reciprocate in the form of, you know, oh, babe, thank you so much for those flowers. I really appreciate that. I appreciate you. And then he gives you a kiss, and you're gentle with each other.
Right.
Let him go pound his chest in the street and be a man. You know,
Right.
and let her go pound, work and be a boss.
Right.
And then come home together, because there's no competition. You know, there should be no feuding. What did Jay-Z said? Nobody eats when the family's feuding.
Exactly.
So we don't eat if we're fighting, if we're always at each other's necks, if we're always disagreeing, if we're always you should never be in competition with your man.
Right.
That's your man. So we have our next situation here we got going on.
What we got?
So this is a good one. So this is kind of almost like a segue. This is very interesting. But if a woman loses respect for her partner, is it possible for her to regain that respect?
Yeah, it's always when you lose when somebody has lost respect for you, it is possible to get it back. It'll take you either changing the dynamic. It'll take you showing up in a different way. What you kind of need to do is you need to allow
Reinvent your ass.
Yeah, you either need to reinvent yourself or make that person see you in a new light. So you got to change it up where they feel almost like, oh wow, this is a new person. That's how you kind of gain that. That's how you gain that respect back.
So I do believe. So I'm kind of torn on this one, to be very honest with you, because I feel like if a woman loses respect for a man, he's done something. Something has transpired in that relationship where you've hit the point of trying to work through it, and then you get to a point where you hit a wall.
Right.
And there's a lack of respect now. Like, to not have respect for a man is like, it's like the bottom of your shoe.
Yep.
So it's almost like what transpired to get you there. So like if a man is constantly cheating, if he's disrespecting you, if he's showing elements of not being planted and being a man, in my opinion, I would the respect would definitely fall for me. I cannot, me personally, I can't be in any sort of relationship with a man that's not planted, that can't lead. We talked about that, but that can't allow me to really be able to fall backwards with him.
Yeah, and
so I can't have. I'm not going to be disrespectful to you. But what I can't do is I can't trust you to lead me because I don't even know if you got good judgment.
Right.
And I've been very methodical in my life to make sure I make good choices, and I can't let your ass come along because you got some good old and you drive a nice little and you got a little extra change and buy me flowers to make me feel like I can trust you and regain respect for you.
And that's
or disrespect.
I'll say that sometimes is
for me.
That sometimes is a challenge with sometimes men being a little bit too transparent, and
it depends on the woman, because I believe a man can be transparent, but it depends.
It does depend on the woman, because sometimes, and it's like if you know about leadership, you also know that there's a lot of stuff that goes down within leadership that the general population doesn't know and is not privy to.
Yeah, that's the household.
Yeah, there's a lot of there's a lot of mistakes.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff done within leadership that can lead to a lack of respect for leadership if people understood the dynamics within leadership. But there's a reason why sometimes they kind of keep that under tight wraps.
You have to.
Because
it's not everybody's business.
But that can also happen between a couple where, you know what, she might have been privy to a little bit too many of your mistakes.
So that's fair. So that goes back to picking and choosing wisely.
Yeah.
So you have to make sure that when you talk to people, when you're dating, and you're developing a relationship, you're really peeling back layers. It's more than just the fun, and we take, great pictures together, and he kisses me, so amazing. Like, you have to peel back those layers and have real ass conversations with them about their life and about how they handle shit. Because you learn a lot from people, the way that they handle other people. And I could tell a finesser from a mile away.
Right.
Because somebody that's all peachy and glory and everything's so amazing and, but I did this, but I got through it, and I want to hear the real. Like, how do you handle conflict? How do you handle, like, if I disagree with you and I'm not me personally, because I don't do the name calling in relationships, but what if I slip and call you, a certain name? Like, how do you handle that?
Right.
Like, those are real conversations that you guys got to have with people, because people will finesse you and make up the whole, I do this, and then they'll finesse you with gifts, and they'll be attractive, and they finesse with sex.
But I'll say that sometimes people.
I'll say.
Yeah, no, I'll say that sometimes people like to be finessed.
I like to be a finesser. I mean, I like to be finessed, but I don't. But be soft finesse, but don't pull the wool over my eyes finesse.
But it all kind of depends, because there's this analogy I have where you have sometimes two types of people, right? There are people who appreciate and respect you from the front of the house on the stage, meaning that they want to see the full presentation after everything's done.
Okay.
Hair, makeup, wardrobe, rehearsed, all of that,
Right.
and they respect that. Then there's
That
another set of
surface.
people who respect the backstage, where the more they know about you, the more respect they
The
have
core.
for right. The more they know about you, the more respect they have for you,
Mm-hmm.
because despite all of your flaws and all the stuff, mistakes, any this and that, what you're able to do on the stage,
Right.
they're
Really.
impressed by it, because it's just like you.
Where you're not as well endowed to get that type of control in other places in your
What's
life.
going on? What is this?
That's a Bluetooth. That's what that is trash.
It's true. Hey, look at Trav. Welcome to Cocktails with Carly and Toks Ogun, where we have bloopers while we're recording.
Exactly. So no, I was using the analogy of the front of stage, back of stage. So
Yes.
there are people, and I love people who appreciate the behind the scenes.
Yes.
Knowing that sometimes your favorite entertainers are going through so much turmoil within their life, so many mishaps backstage, but when they get on that stage, they still
You
show
never
up.
know.
And some people respect that, because it's just like, you're not perfect, but you still come through.
Yes.
Some people, once they go backstage, they kind of lose respect, because that allure of you being like a polished, full product.
Yeah.
They get to see that, and they feel like, oh, you're not really as.
You know what? I'm glad
you're not
you
really
said
as,
that.
You're not as really. I thought you were such a great singer, because I thought you just showed up on stage perfect.
Right.
But the fact that you have to do all of that backstage,
Right.
and people have to coach you and pep you up, I feel like.
Yeah, so people fall for the surface type of persona,
Right.
opposed to the core. Me personally, I want a core person. I want to sit across from somebody for them to tell me about their traumas and tell me about, and then be able to trust me with that, for me to be able to reciprocate and tell them about my traumas and what I've done to work through, and and how we can work together, and to see, is this something that we could do together, or do you still need to work on yourself?
Right.
Because some people may have worked on, people have traumas. Some people may work through theirs, and then you're maybe a little further along than
Right.
them,
Mm-hmm.
and in which we could be friends, but I'm not on that level. Like, I've advanced,
Right.
but it doesn't mean that I don't want to talk to you. It just means that here's some options that you can have. But to kind of take us back, people definitely fall in love with the persona instead of the core.
Exactly.
And I would rather a core person, because I feel like that's a real ass person. And that
Exactly.
person is going to be very honest with me,
Mm-hmm.
because they're honest from the get-go about their core.
Right.
But that persona, they want to always have filters, makeup, all over. Like, I don't mind showing guys, that I'm, me with no makeup. This is what I do. I'd rather stay at home, and I sip tea every night before I go to bed. And like, I like to work in my garden in the spring. Like, that's who I am.
Right.
Like, I like to look good. I love makeup. Because I love to live in my feminine, divine,
Right.
my divine feminine. But that's not all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And you get some guys that want you to look like a picture all the time.
You do get that. You
And
do
you
get that.
yeah, and I'm just like,
I prefer to
you
see
prefer the picture?
No, I like to see the backstage.
Okay.
I like to see all that it takes for you to be that photo.
Yeah.
I love all of that. I love all of the, maybe, half of your dress is torn, but there's like a little safety pin, there or whatever.
Right.
But you still look bad. But I
Right.
appreciate that, you know what? Even though there's a little safety pin back there that I know nobody else knows, but you still look bad. I
Right.
appreciate that.
And then how they handle it.
Right.
Because some people may not want people to see some women may not, and men may not want people to see their imperfections. And I think that what happens, because I at times I could be a bit of a perfectionist. And so I like things to be a certain way sometimes, because it makes me feel like confident in that space. Like, if I'm getting my nails done or something like that, and I'm just like, can you just fix this nail? Because I know later on when I'm on my way home, because I didn't say anything, because I've also been that person, I'm going to be like, damn, I should have said something. And so instead, I've just practiced a certain type of behavior that's not a nuisance. But I've practiced a certain type of behavior where because I've done it this way, it always works, and it's always something that works great in the long run. You know what I mean? So it's like
Yeah.
practice behavior, but Yeah, no, don't be trying to give people the surface. We want more of the core. So I think we would agree.
But you gotta be. But I'll say you gotta be able to accept the core.
You got to be able to accept the core.
Right.
And if you want a surface type person, just know that that's probably going to get you a fake ass person, because that's a whole persona. That is something that's a veneer that a person
Definitely.
has to put on for you. You know, now you still want your person to look good.
Oh, no, you still want it to look good.
To, you know, make sure, but you also have to understand, as women, we have skincare at night. Okay, we got something called bonnets, and you know, we got lip masks and all that. So guess what? We may not look like ourselves at night all the time, but you know, it's the core. I feel like once you fall in love with the core, everything else falls in line.
That's what's my motto.
I don't mean to interrupt y'all, but isn't that looking like yourself?
What? With no makeup? I think that makeup enhances beauty.
That definitely is who you are, and people have to, or a man has to be able to fall in love with that and not the photo,
Not the veneer.
because you're not the photo. It's similar to how like people deal with celebrities, where a lot of times people fall in love with the celebrity that you see, but that's not the real person. That's just a fraction of who they are. Like your favorite artist, comedian, you don't know if they got so many insecurities before they hit the stage. People, oh, you gonna do it, you got it, you gonna do it.
And you out there with your knees shaking, just
Right,
smiling
right.
with your Dior on.
And then they hit the stage, and it's just like boom, they're on. And people fall in love with that. And then when you find out that they're so insecure, you're just like, you're not the person that I thought you were. Of course I'm not.
Of course I'm not. Because you're getting what I want you to have.
Exactly. So a woman isn't her Instagram photos. She the real, whatever the real
Yeah.
deal is. You got to fall in love with that. If
That's
you fall
right.
in love with that, all the extra is just bonus.
Right. I would agree. So that's what's up. What you got?
So I got one more. Are more women finding happiness and fulfillment without a husband?
Oh my God.
From that IRO, you know that's true.
So there was actually a new report that came out about that. And a lot of women are finding more happiness and comfort without a significant other. And I think that what's happened is women are tired of trying to push and pull and tug men to do right when you meet a guy and you're like, wow, I really like you, and you know, and they like you, and then all of a sudden they hit you with the, I want to have a girlfriend, and you're just like, what? And so I feel like what's happening is a lot of successful women, and a lot of women, period, are choosing their happiness over settling for whatever it is that a guy wants, just to be with them.
I mean, they could also settle for a more appropriate guy.
I mean, it's a lot of guys. Even the Ugmosis guys is like, I want a girlfriend. Even guys
No,
that
so
are not in
I feel
that
like-
realm of life are
I feel
wanting
like
things in that
most men are not those type of men. Most men would be happy just to be with somebody who loves and cares about them.
I don't believe that. I think that they do, but that's not what they're doing.
No,
Doing
I think
wanting is two
what-
totally different
I think
things.
what we've come to see is that we feel like those type of men are all men, but that's not the case. It's just a
No, I
it's,
could
it's,
never
it's,
blanket
it's a select few that are the most popular and the most outgoing, and so it feels like, oh, all men just want an extra girlfriend. No, most men just be just happy to just have one girl that they like.
I don't agree with that. I do believe, and we talked about this at the beginning, I do believe a specific narrative is being pushed, and people in music and entertainment and in social media, and I truly believe that a lot of people are just wanting to get on the bandwagon of, well, if women are okay with it, because you have a lot of women giving men everything they want, that they don't want, just to satisfy them and just to be with them.
And so the reason why those women are giving those men everything that they want is because, at least in their mind, those men happen to be the so-called high-value men. And so once you're under the high-value banner, it's kind of like you're a little bit of a mini celebrity where people give you all the stuff that you want because they feel like you that person.
So I would agree with that, but you do have guys that are not high
you
value that are
come-
wanting to have girlfriends and have sexual explorative relationships.
Come just below that, you'll find the real dudes who just want a lady that love them.
He's the $80,000.
You said what? You said $80,000. You say $80,000 under your breath. It might be $80,000.
There's nothing wrong with $80,000.
$80,000 is a pretty good salary.
Hey, it is.
Yep. Not for Carly. Not for Carly.
No, I mean, I'm listen. To each his own. There's somebody for everyone, and I just truly believe that you should never sacrifice what you want to be with a person, and a person should never expect you to do that.
Well, what I'll say is that you don't want to sacrifice what you think you want, because a lot of times people feel like they want this lifestyle, but that lifestyle without somebody to share it with, it gets old after a while. And that's the thing.
Okay, so that's fair. And I do believe that, because
Right.
there was a person that I knew at one point, and he had mentioned that he wants to be in a relationship with someone where he has somebody else. And I asked him, I said, would at any point, like, are you ever going to want to be in a regular relationship where you just travel and not have to buy 3 airline tickets and not have to, because it's expensive.
Right.
And it's a lot of manpower to be with multiple women.
It is.
And when you're giving your energy and you're spreading your energy, like, somebody's getting a shortage of this energy. And is that fair to the woman? Like, guys always say, like, oh, I want to have all these women. And dude, that's a lot of energy that you got to shed out. Because
Definitely.
I'm going to tell you, and not to say this is what I want to be, but if I'm girl number 4, I want it like I'm number 1. So you got to be ready. Okay? Don't give me, oh, man, I did it like 3 other times and I'm here. No, keep that multiple woman energy.
But how they do it, at least in some of the Muslim household, is that they're days.
Oh, they have days.
Yeah.
You got to have a lot of stamina for them days. I mean, you just do.
Right. And then also, the other thing that sometimes people don't tell you is that because those relationships happen over time, sometimes, let's say the first one, they've gotten past that. Oh,
So they don't want to have sex that much.
Yeah, they don't want to have sex that much. It's more so about the kids. Oh, I need a new car, new house. It's more so about that. Then there may be the third or fourth one where it's just like, oh, y'all still want to have a good time and do all of that.
So wait a minute, Ogun, I got a question. So, hypothetically speaking, because you're familiar with the culture of that.
Right.
Not that you live that, but you're familiar.
Mm-hmm.
So if you were to look at me and I was in that realm of women that had to, would I be the first wife, third wife, seventh wife, or like the person that I am? Because there's a different personality I feel like that's attached to the numbers.
You give me almost like second wife vibes.
Why not the first?
Because the first, sometimes
she's unattractive and out of shape. Okay, I get it.
And it's not so much that she's unattractive. It's just that she's left all that. Yes, she's about the love, but all that lovey-dovey shit is just like, let's just make sure shit's good.
Okay.
Everything's whatever you do on your own time. Just don't bring no shit to my door. Just
go be with number
right.
2.
If there's important events, show up the right way. This and that. The second wife is more so a little bit like that, but then I still want to feel special. I still want to be romanced. I'm not trying to party and ask you to buy me Birkin bags and all that 1,000 other shit. I'm not saying that that's not important, but it's not like, I don't feel like you doing that is showing me the love. Like, let's say a fourth wife is just
right.
like, a fourth wife is just like,
She's
first
just happy
of all,
to be there.
A fourth wife is like, first of all, you're significantly older than me. You probably got significant bags. So like, show me you got that money.
So
That's
you think
not
the
really a
lower
second
you
one.
get or the higher you get, it's more money, more.
Well, yes, because typically, if you're like a fourth wife, you're probably significantly younger than the man and the first wife.
Which would make sense. Who would want to go,
And typically, if there's a large gap between a man and a woman, she's expecting that, first of all, you're not my age where you're like, let's say, the most muscular whatever man. So obviously, yes, you might look handsome, but you also got a bag. So like, what's up?
Okay.
So yeah, I say second wife vibes.
I could never imagine myself in that space because I'm so territorial, and if I were in that space, I'd probably be bossing all the wives around. Like, you could, nope, he can't do that with you. No, it's not your day anymore. We changed it. No.
You causing trouble in the
I
rotation?
would probably, it would be pointless to have like 5 wives because I'd be acting like one. The bottom.
Hey, which Which that might work out. That might work out for you.
No, it's not going to work out for me.
You sure?
No, I don't want it. I don't want to be the bottom. I want to be the top and the one only.
You've never you never dated somebody where y'all were just dating for like a
I
decent amount
dated
of time?
someone. I dated someone
And it wasn't
at one
exclusive?
point, and we were not exclusive. But I knew that I was probably I probably was the bottom, so to speak,
Right.
because of the way that. And it was a long. But this is because
How
of the
long,
way.
How long did you guys date for?
Like 10 months, 11
Yeah.
months.
So it's roughly
feel
like
like
that.
yeah.
It's roughly like that. Just maybe a little bit more elaborate, but it's roughly like that.
Yeah, because I knew that he had a different level of respect and care and all those things. And I was just like, okay, once we got past a certain level, I was just like, okay, if this is not going, and I'm never giving anybody else that much time, but if this is not going into a committed relationship, then I'm not doing this. But in that relationship at that time, I felt like I was the only person.
Right. And for a lot of women, that feeling of feeling like you're the only one is sometimes enough. Even if there are others, as long as I feel like
But I
don't feel
didn't.
like I'm lacking.
I also never saw any remnants. I always talked when I talked to him when I wanted to talk to him.
Yeah.
And so I never.
You just also didn't want to talk to him all the time because
Well,
you had your own life.
Well, and he had his own life.
Yeah.
So
Which
it's,
included other women.
right, other house.
And so, but it's just like that, where it's like, as long as you feel like you're not lacking, like somebody else is taking your time, it's a little bit more manageable.
Yeah, but I still would not want to be, from an energetic standpoint, in a relationship with someone that's being intimate with multiple people and giving their energy to other people. I mean, just think in a profession with a job. If you're dealing with the boss, he's exerting a lot of energy alone with a lot of people that he employs. Mm-hmm. And it's his baby, it's his business.
Right.
To be in a relationship with a man and he's successful and he's giving all of his energy to a bunch of women, like, how much energy are you really getting? You're getting the presence, but are you really getting the connection?
You might be. It depends on the. It sometimes depends on the type of connection that you're looking for.
Yeah.
Sometimes people need that. Oh, we're like boyfriend and girlfriend, spending so much time together, this and that. And some people are just like, I just need a couple days a week, good, solid quality.
It depends on intention. I
good-
truly believe
good
that.
quality time that is devoid of distractions.
Yeah.
If I could get like 2 of those days a week, some women are okay with that.
I think that some women are okay with that. I think those are the same
Because they
women.
don't want more. I don't want you all up. We're all up on each other like 5 days a week. I don't want that.
I mean,
Have your own life. Go be ambitious or have some hobbies. or
go
some
be
shit.
ambitious. Go
Right.
go fishing.
Yeah, go fishing or start another business or some shit. Don't be all up. I'm not trying to be all up under you all the time.
I don't know. Do you like a relationship where you see each other every day, or could you go like, hey, I could see you like 2 days a week in a committed relationship? Because I'm an every dayer, like at least 5 days.
If I knew that the relationship could sustain being like 2 or 3 days a week without there being any issues, yeah, I would like that, because it would give me the time to myself that I need without feeling like, oh, you're lacking. If I feel that you're lacking, then I'm not gonna want to have my alone
So
time as much as possible.
you would be more of like in a marriage with a house and all that family. You would be more of a man cave guy. Like, I need my man cave.
Yeah, probably like a man subdivision or something.
Away from the house. He needs what do they do? I forgot what it's called. They have these units that they build outside the house. I can't remember. but-
Yeah, I would probably need something like that.
So you actually enjoy your space because you like
I
your
thoroughly
alone
enjoy
time.
myself. Yeah, I've been like that my whole life.
I get that.
The person, for me to be the Toks that everybody loves,
They all love you, Toks.
I need my alone time.
So for me, because I grew up with a very big family and we all lived near each other, you know, I didn't like, for a long time as an adult, I didn't like being by myself.
Oh, I loved it.
So even when I moved here and started creating Roots, like, I was like, I want people. Like, I need like family. I need people. And so then, like, up until like the past 5 years, I've learned to really be content with being by myself.
Right.
And like going to the mall and going to the movies and traveling. Of course, even with job, you know, your job will definitely do that because, you know, I travel for work. So, you know, I actually enjoy, like, when I go to DC, like, staying in my little hotel. Like, even if I go for a week, I'm like, oh, my God, this is so weird. It's like I live by myself in this little space. And it's my little, you know, my little dosage of it.
Right.
But then when I get back to my house and I'm like, oh, good, I have room. I could go on the deck, my animals, my kid. Like, I'm like, oh, I have all the, like, it feels different.
Yeah. For me, I mean, I have 2 sisters, a brother.
Your brother lived down the street.
Yeah.
We share the same gas station and that's crazy.
But I grew up always having my own room, so I was always used to, even though I had like a big family, I was still always used to just having my space and being able to be alone.
Yeah.
And just in my own world do my own thing.
I have my own space, but I was
And
the only
even the
kid for like 10
idea of
years.
sharing
Yeah.
a room and a space with somebody it feels off to me.
Yeah, I never had to share a room. I never had to share my toys. I didn't have to do any of that stuff, thank God.
Yeah, I only have to do that, let's say, maybe when I was like a kid, 7 or 8. So even doing that as an adult with a woman is still just like, it's taxing.
Let me tell you a quick story. So when I was a kid, we lived in this townhouse, and my mom would like say, okay, you know, you couldn't really leave kids by themselves or whatever. She was like, all right, I was like 8, I think, or 7. She's like, I'm gonna leave, but don't let anybody know that you're at home, and you can't go outside.
Right.
So there were kids that lived in the subdivision. So I was like, man, I want the kids to come. So what I would do is I would get grapes because she would have all this food, right? I would get grapes and I poked a hole like in the front of the screen above the garage. So the kids would be downstairs. And so I would be feeding them grapes, like throwing grapes in between like this, like in between the screen. And so over time, my mom's like, why is the screen so open? Why is it torn open? Because I was like all out playing with the kids upstairs. And throwing my like toys down so they can play. Mm-hmm. And we're like playing and I'm upstairs. And so I think I've always liked just to be around people. Maybe I just never wanted to be alone. So I think that's actually funny. I'm going to call my mom on my way home and talk to her about that because she's going to be like, oh my God, I remember that.
Yeah, she'll be able to tell you how you really were.
Right. But anyway, so this was fun, Toks.
Oh, no, definitely.
And so I hope you guys enjoyed this. Thank you so much for the questions and actually wanting our opinions about it. That's fucking dope. And of course, follow our site page on Instagram at CWCTO and the number 1. Shout out to Trav in the back for making sure all of our vocals are good. You can find them at The Cool One on Instagram, and that's at The Cool One. If you guys are interested in podcasts and all that fun stuff, reach out to Trav.
Definitely.
He is vicious in the city with helping everybody with their podcasts. Toks, where can everybody find you?
They can find me at Toks Ogun. That's TOKSOGUN, and that's everywhere, even the .com. And we also got CWCTO.com, which will give you more information about us, have links to our YouTube videos, and you can subscribe. I think if it's on YouTube, I'm gonna be over here. Yeah, it's like somewhere over there. So make sure y'all subscribe. Make sure you support us. Follow us on Instagram, and also follow us on YouTube.
Yes, definitely let us know. And then if you guys are interested in being on the show, holla at us. And if you're interesting enough, then maybe we'll let you on.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm Cocktails with Carly. You can find me on Instagram at cocktailswithcarly_. And we will check y'all later.
All right, bye, y'all.
Bye.